Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's me, Irvin, with another anime review. Welcome on once again, guys. We're gonna be reviewing a new series. This one in particular, well, it's not new. It's new from last year, but it's called No Longer Allowed in Another World. Um, if you guys saw our live back in December, you probably remember this one was mentioned by Arceus as one of his favorites. And was this his number one? I don't think it was number one, but it was up there for sure. This is actually a pretty good, decent series. Um, if you've never seen it, it has a good synopsis and good characters. So I really did enjoy the series itself. Now, before anything, guys, if you haven't done so by now, make sure you do subscribe to my channel. Give some love by commenting, liking, and sharing. We are starting a new year with reviews and all that kind of stuff. I've done my first impression videos by now, hopefully, and I'm hopefully done with them. If not, you'll be seeing them trickle in here and there, but I think by this point I should be done with everything. So, okay, No Longer Allowed in Another World. Let's talk about it. We follow the main character who is, I guess they just call him Sensei. Yeah. So he is a like old timey dude, 1800s. I believe he's a writer, and he has this girl that he's with. He has an accomplished life, and basically he is trying to commit double suicide with his lover. And then Truck Coon comes and transports him to another world, which in itself it's hilarious because they take the whole trope of the truck, killing people and so on and so forth. They take that and make it into its own thing in this series, where the trucks are the ones that are taking people to another world. So, in this other world, there is several other worlders that have arrived in different times, and essentially this guy just wants to commit suicide. Like, he is done with his life. um in the beginning, he takes a lot of poison. Because of that, he becomes powerful enough where, like, anyone who tries to kill him, they they fail because, like, all the poison he's taken kind of attacks anything that attacks his body. So he's pretty much immune to a lot of stuff now. Like, he is insane. He also is very poisonous himself now, so he gets a lot of them poisoned and killed. So his essential goal becomes, and this takes a few episodes, but once it does become his essential goal, it's like, oh, okay, this is what the anime is all about. And that is, he is sending people back to their world. So before Truck-kun took them into this other world. So there's several stories that I like. There's the wheelchair guy who basically felt like he was a burden to people, and he has his own story. There is other stories in itself that were nice. I feel like a lot of them in the beginning were like they were villains, but they were villains because they had a reason why they became the villain, and then they were just taking advantage of their powers. And they went power hungry, and because of that, he had to step in and stop them from doing any more harm, right? And then eventually, when we start seeing that, oh, okay, these guys weren't always villains, we start seeing people that are also there who, like, there's a two sister story where the other sister's there because she wants to be with her sister. And there's like a lot of like background stories to each character. Each episode starts becoming its own uniqueness to itself, and each character just kind of adds to it. We have several characters that add on to his party. The first one is Annette, who is the priestess that brings him in. She sees something special in him, and she basically becomes his guide into finding all these people and helping him through the way. There is Tama, who is like a little kitten, and she's also kind of like not really a love interest because she's not really a love interest, but she's there. She basically acts like a cat, or really like a puppy, for Sensei, but she's there for his beck and call. And then Nur also is introduced eventually. So yeah, that is the series in itself. Is it good or is it not? Well, I mentioned a lot of stuff already in the live, so you can go back and see what me and Arcia say about it. But this is what it reminded me of, and that was the Executioner manga that I read, and I also saw the anime, which is a girl who would do the same thing. She would go and hunt um, other worlders. Now, that's not exactly what's going on here because he's really sending them back home, whereas in her case, she was ending their life. Like she was completely ending their life completely. So when I first watched it in the beginning, that's the feeling I got was, oh, it's kind of like that series, right? So it's unique in the sense of he's not killing them, but it's not unique in the sense of he's hunting people in a world where there's a lot of other worlders that have maybe taking their powers out of control. There's also the instant death anime that released and manga light novel that I released also reviewed sorry here that reminded me of that where you have a group of people that have all these powers. Some are better than others, and because some are better than others, the ones that don't have the best powers start to rely on the bigger powers. There's a duo in the beginning. There's this guy who basically he can reproduce money, right? Which in you would think like, oh, that's a pretty useful power, but for fighting, not really, right? So his power is just to make money. So he relies on a guy who has combat powers, and they together are basically villains, because they're able to get whatever they want, and then he's able to protect them from anyone who's attacking them. So they have a little bit of both. But alone, he would be weak. So that kind of reminded me of that one in the instant death. The whole class is isekai, and then different groups of students get together because they're stronger in packs, but also, let's be honest, not everyone wants to be together in a group. So I felt like that kind of happened here as well. So is it good? Yeah, my anime list I believe had it at a like a sevens ish. I think that's a little bit too generous, but I'm gonna agree with it. I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. It's one of the better isekais from last year, so go check it out. I believe it's both dub and sub on Crunchyroll, so go watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you haven't done so by now, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time. And like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.